Hello, and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni. This is Danny, and today we have a really fun episode for you guys. We are going to be exploring how to talk to each type in human design. I'm super stoked about this. I've been wanting to explore this for a bit, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I'm a 2-4 right angle hermit. I'm not convinced I know how to talk to each type. So I'm going to learn a lot too.
I feel like my completely open throat is at play here because I find it
I'm
really
sure it is.
fascinating. Yeah, because it's like you hear for generators, it's mostly all you hear. It's like with generators, you ask them yes, no questions. And it's like, cool, that's really great for them. And then you have three other types that no one ever really kind
Not
of
to
goes
mention that doesn't
over.
really work with the generators. I mean, so you work with them for a little while. It's not like you can tell them that and they're okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. So thank you for, exploring this with me. And if you'd like to book a reading with either Danny or myself, you can check out the QR code above me, or there's a link down in the description box below, and you can use code AWAKEN to save 10%. We can hang out, talk about your chart, help you understand some stuff, have a lot of fun. So check that out. And if you are getting a lot out of our episodes, you want to help encourage us and support us, check out that QR code to our donation page. The link is also down in the description box below. And thank you so much. And as always, thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us, asking us questions. We love having you, and let's get into it. So we're going to start off with our manifestors. And so first off, we're going to do kind of a mechanical breakdown, and then we're going to go into how to talk to them. So our manifestors have a closed and repelling aura. You can tell on a chart if it's a manifestor because there's no defined sacral. So this square where my cursor is, that one, if it's white, and then you have a motor other than the sacral going to the throat. On this graphic, we have the three specifically manifested channels, but you can also get there from like the root to the spleen up to the throat. You can have other variations, but these are three very specific manifestor channels. Manifestors are initiators who value independence and can act without needing input, and they dislike being controlled or questioned excessively.
Just about the manifestor, it's any way that you can draw a straight line from a motor to a throat. So okay, Moni's right, it can go through any different combinations. It's just that there's no break. Lots of projectors have plenty of motors, but there's always a break before you get to the throat. They dislike being controlled. They really do. And it's best to speak, in my opinion, it's best to speak to a manifestor in a pretty matter of fact way because their gig is impact.
There's no defined sacral. There's a motor, other than the sacral going to the throat, and the way that their aura, it's pushing outward, right? And repelling sounds kind of rough. Like you tell a manifestor they have a repelling aura and they can kind of get like a little sad or offended. And it doesn't mean that like you're bad or you're repellent or anything like that in a personalized kind of sense. It's that their aura is it's protecting them and it's pushing outside influence away from them because they're supposed to be doing their own thing and kind of impacting in their own way. So that's why it's like their aura protects them from this undue influence so they can do what they are doing and initiate in the way that they are here to initiate.
Absolutely. And that aura itself is look at it like bug spray. You're not repelling to other people just because you have bug spray, but you're repelling to the resistance of the bugs. And people try to bug you. They're not actual bugs, but they do try to bug you. I mean, it's just a perfect example. So you got this thing that repels you being bugged. It's hard for people to break into you to like get at you to start making you pay attention.
Yeah, it's like the aura is repellent to those who are trying to kind of interrupt or impede on the manifestor's process.
Yep. Or influence them. They could have all collective channels and love sharing, but they still don't want you influencing them.
Yeah, they're supposed to kind of just do their own thing based on their own authority, right? I always kind of feel like kind of bad for like emotional manifestors because they can just do something, but they have to like really wait out that wave as opposed to maybe an ego manifestor or splenic manifestor. It's more immediate. But yeah, it's
Mhm.
like for the manifestor, it's like whatever your authority is, and once that authority finds it's like yes, it's time to do this, then it's the right thing for them to do, for the manifestor to do, is to inform others who are going to be impacted by them. So then they'll get out of the way.
Agreed.
On this one, we're actually going to explore how best to talk to manifestors. So, with manifestors, it's best to inform and not try to control them. Inform them instead of asking yes, no questions, give declarative statements. So, like a generator would be like, you want to with me to the movies? Like, that's not going to work for a manifestor. For a manifestor, you can say, hey, I'm going to go see this movie and I'd love for you to come with me. It's a declarative statement that then allows them to decide in their own way if they want to do that in a way that's appropriate for them. And avoid micromanaging or demanding an immediate response from a manifester. Like, get out of their way, let them do what they're going to do. Give them space to process and act, and praise their ability to take charge. Don't leave them in the dark. Like, any manifestor like, tell them stuff even if you think it's kind of goofy. Like, you might feel silly like informing your manifestor of this, but if you just tell them, hey, this is what's going on, it gives them something to work with. Whereas if you don't inform them, they kind of just feel like they're lost and floating, and there's a lot of stress that is kind of built up in them. So if you just let them know what's going on, that could really help them. Manifestors appreciate clear, concise communication without fluff.
Yeah, it's about being direct and not trying to. And I like the informing. My realtor is an emotional manifester, and I'm selling my house. When I had to tell her I'm canceling the thing because I found a buyer on my own, I informed her, "Don't be mad at me." She was like, "I don't know, Dan. We got to." I was like, I can't. I already shook the man's hand, and she stopped. I informed her. The man's word is his bond, right? You can't ask a guy to just ignore that. Some people you can, but not me. And so I informed her how she could impact me. It was pretty easy. I was nervous.
Yeah, it really is just like, if you could remember with manifestors, just declarative statements. Instead of like asking them questions, just say, I already shook this guy's hand to sell this house. Just letting you know. With my
Right.
manifestors, I'll even like introduce it. Like, if I like, message my manifestor, I'm just like informing dot dot dot. And then I'll just tell them, informing, I'm having trouble with this thing and I could really use your help because you are a manifestor and you can initiate and you can make that happen. And they're like, oh yeah, I want to help you. I want to have an impact.
Yeah, actually, that's a great word. I mean, we do it all the time. We do it with the tribe. You tell someone who's very tribal, I need you. Suddenly, you unlocked their ear for a moment, anyways. Same thing, informing. You've unlocked their eyes, and they're like, "What is this?" Da, 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 da. And it's either for them or it's not. You don't have to get
Man,
back to them and say, "Was that for you?" They'll tell you.
yeah, exactly. It's just this informing in both ways. Like, manifestors, hey, please inform us if you're gonna bash into us or if you're gonna do something that's gonna affect us in some way. Just let us know and we'll get out of the way, right? And that'll drop all the resistance that manifestors may meet if they don't inform, and that retribution of people who get mad that, like, why did you just punch me in the face, essentially? And then they try to
So
control the
funny.
manifestor, right? So it's like, if the manifestor informs us and we inform the manifestor, we can all be like cohesive and like groovy gravy.
And don't look for a lot of back and forth unless you're engaged in something. You can be engaged, and then there will be. Everyone goes out to a cigar bar. Yeah, there'll be back and forth. But I mean, just regularly, you bump into it, or you're at work or something. Don't expect a lot of back and forth. They're busy about their doings, and that's the thing. As a generator, I'm sitting back and waiting. I'm busy about my waiting and then doing. And the thing is, they've got no platform by which to wait. If they wait, they're in limbo, technically. And so they're always in some form, just like the ego's always at work. No matter, like, what was the joke last night? It was like, Moni, I could hand you a deck of cards and say, hey, could you shuffle that while I stir my coffee? And to you, it's work. Now it's work. Yeah.
Because the ego
uh,
is working no matter
The
what. If the
ego's
ego
always
is doing something,
working.
it's work. Yeah.
It's right. And it's the same thing here. They're always trying to move forward. And it's okay for them to try to move forward. They're initiators. That's what they're supposed to do. So when they're not, there's a hold on them. And so if you see a frustrated or sort of angry manifester, you can ask them if they want to talk it out, if they have something to say.
Yeah, or even say, "Hey, it seems you're a little upset. I'm here if you want to talk. I'm here to listen." Right? Again, like
Yep,
presenting it in declarative statements. Because it's like, yes, you can ask the question and that can kind of come out naturally, but I really find there's a huge difference if you actually put in that effort to just like declarative statement. I'm here to talk if you want to talk, if you want me to just listen, like just present it in that kind of way. Because then it lets them decide without, kind of mucking them up in a confusing thing.
exactly. And the rest of the time, the communication is not communication because you're stepping out of the way. And the thing is, part of that you can communicate and you should so that they start to inform you better. Hey, I know you're a manifestor. I'm stepping out of your way. Generally speaking, I'm out of your way. If I don't see your eyes looking right at me, it's not for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And so I don't have to wonder if it's for me, because if it's for me, you'll directly look at me and you'll also probably say something.
And engage with me in that manner. Yeah,
And you,
that's
yeah,
a good one.
yeah. Yeah. And so now I'm not going to even take it personally. So So if you're a married couple, whoever's the manifestor now has a total out. Just don't look. And now the marriage is like not running into all this stuff. And
Yeah,
anyone who finds that repelling, it's like, hold on a minute. We're going to do a year-long experiment and see if you find it repelling later. Because when they see the impact that their manifestors make on their life, when they're given that affection, when they're given that love, when they're given that safe self-container, part of the communication is letting them know, dude, I'm making sure you have a safe container. I'm the rambunctious one, technically, as a generator. I'll ruin your whole day, maybe, without even realizing it. Doing that, informing them of that is helpful.
yeah, you bring up another good point that I wanted to make sure that we address, which is kind of like my top right graphic here with the two people, which is kind
Mhm.
of like get out of the manifestor's way. I find it's really funny, like as a projector, because so often it's like I can get annoyed with a manifestor who doesn't inform me that they're about to impact me in some way. And it can be so jarring and so like, it's like a car accident, right? Like they didn't put their signal on and then all of a sudden there's a car accident and you're like all upset about it. And it's like, yeah, I would love it if I can get all the manifestors to inform and do their thing and inform of their impact. But it's like I don't have control over that. And ultimately, the best thing I can do with manifestors is just get out of their way. You
Exactly.
know, let them do their own thing. Hopefully they can learn to inform you and all these things, but at the very least it's like get out of their way, and if you are engaged in a relationship of any kind, just try to inform them of things, provide those declarative statements, and then let them kind of do their own thing because that's what they're here to do.
Exactly. Exactly.
Next up, we're going to talk about our pure generators who have an embracing and an enveloping aura. So, pure generators have a defined sacral. When that's filled in red and there's not a motor to the throat, then this would be a pure generator. Generators have powerful, sustainable energy with the sacral center, and they respond best to direct yes no questions, sparking their gut response.
This whole thing is waiting, and I think the keynote is really open and enveloping, but embracing maybe makes more sense in certain ways. But this enveloping aura that is open, it does embrace, and it doesn't even know it's embracing. And embracing sort of indicates a type of intent, possibly, but just openness because we don't even know what's coming in on us. It's just so wide open, and it envelops things, and so that's why our strategy is to respond. And so with this aura there and that yes no question thing, it's like they are open to the whole thing. They are going to go back and forth unless they don't. Unless they don't. And then what I said 2 seconds later, it's like, well, if you want to, yeah, please, if you want to, yeah. I was like, I didn't want to put you out. I didn't feel like listening. I was what all of it, it's like, oh, yeah. So it's funny. So just watch out for that. They have a different type of unavailability. Their unavailability happens moment to moment. They're available. Oh, shoot, they're not available. They're available. They're available temporarily. And at all times, they're only available temporarily. I mean, unless you got certain magic, something or other, or whatever, but they're only available temporarily mostly. And even you're the one who pointed that out, Lonnie.
It is true. Yeah, no, generators are available until they're not. Like generators, I used to find in my like pre-human design days, I would get so hurt by people because I'm a projector and I'm focused in on them and I'm giving them all this love and attention. And I would get so saddened and hurt to not be receiving that back because a generator type is always waiting to respond to something. They can hang out with you for a bit and then they're going to go leave and do something because that's what generators do. So learning that about them and this idea of like their aura is open and enveloping and it's literally just pulling everything in towards them. It's like a vortex, right? It's just pulling everything in towards them. And then that sacral is there to go, yeah, uh-huh, 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 to all these different things that are coming at them to because otherwise it's like you would just get lost in it. If you're a generator with an open vortex aura pulling everything in and you didn't have a means within you to decide if this is a yes or a no, it would be a tornado. Like you just get like chaotically lost in it. And so that sacral is there to go yes into this, no into this, yes into this, no into this. So it's pretty beautifully designed.
I think so. And so when we move on to the next slide and talk about how to talk to them, just keep in mind that the yes and the no is strictly a biological function. It's happening through a chemistry, through the process of being aware of what just came into our aura. And it's a biological function to release energy or withhold it. Or you could just say release it or not. It's a heck of a determiner to see, like, we're always teaching generators, notice the difference in your responses, the ones that are mental and the ones that aren't. We show them how to do that. We show them how one comes in a skip of a record later, and that's how you notice it. But there's another secondary authenticator, just like an authentication code you get on a text message that says, I got energy. And anyone can notice, oh my God, I'm doing. It's like only half doing. But do the thing if you're only half doing, if you have to, but just recognize that somewhere a moment earlier, you had a response that said, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just a fact.
yeah, it's really quite wild to like actually understand that the sacral, when the sacral says uh-huh and it's into something, I mean it's like a fire hose. It's just this continually refilling energy to put into it, right? Like they wake up with this full battery of sacral energy of like, this is what I want to put it into. Like I have all this energy to create something and to really build the world and make something awesome. And then that sacral, when it says, it's going to have the energy to like follow that through to like whatever is meant for it. If you go with that, then awesome, you'll be set. You'll use your energy correctly. You'll feel good. You'll feel satisfied. Whereas if you try to do something that your sacral is not into, it's like, you're not going to have a lot of energy for that. And if you keep trying to force it, that's where the frustration and it feels weird and it feels all clingy and wonky and weird.
It's a huge chemistry tell. I say chemistry as much as I can because I really want people to take it literally. I mean, that's why I've always used the example, because mostly we read for women, right? What's the ratio? Like not 9 to 1 at least, right? And so so what do they understand? They understand chemistry. Women understand chemistry. So I always give the examples of the chemistry women understand as they're growing up and all that. And I want people to take it as seriously as that for everything. Did you feel it? That was a chemistry, or you couldn't have felt it. Did you think it? The chemistry invoked your consciousness to intermingle and cooperate with this thing, and now you're thinking. That was a chemistry. Doesn't mean your mind's not working, but even when your mind works, it's a chemistry. So lack of energy is a big one. You should be able to see it. And that's a good way that'll good clue on how we're going to talk to these generators afterwards. Because a lot of it is you just talk to them, and yeah, you ask them questions and stuff. We'll go over that. But the other part is to recognize when you're not talking to them anymore, and let that be part of the communication process where now that's okay. It's basically, I release you. And if you're a projector, sometimes you'll have to say that.
I mean, I literally said that to you before the show because as
Yeah.
like a projector, like we can kind of lock into a sacral being and we could not want to let go. Like the sacral is really yummy and juicy. It's this creative life force energy. And a projector, unknowingly, we kind of just like and like latch into them when you
You
can
guys are
tell, like,
coveters. You're coveters.
a bit, a bit. It's just so juicy, and we don't even realize we're doing it. It's just like, wow, life force
Of
energy.
course.
This is great. I like being around it. And then when you could tell your generator's over and they're trying to go do something else, like I would be like, I relinquish you. I relinquish you from my focus and my sacral hold upon you, and like let
Mm,
them go respond to something else, and don't take it personally.
yep. Yep, indeed. Because it's not personal. It is personal in one direction. It's internally personal because the generators question whether they're left angle or right is, who am I? The most absorbed creature on the planet is the generator first. You could argue the manifestor in certain ways. Get into the right angle of a generator, the most absorbed creature. They're just, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? What is this to me? Me, me. And it doesn't make them selfish or like awful. It's just that's the lens by first which they organize, order, and have a framework for how their consciousness works and their cognition works. They don't even know it. They're operating that way naturally. It's like an operating system in the
Yeah,
chemistry.
it is also a funny way, as a projector, I have learned with generators. It's like if you bring something back to them, it'll pique their interest. Like
Yep.
even if you're like talking about something with yourself and what you think, if you're like, oh, you said that thing and that really got me thinking on this, it's like you can kind of, if you bring it back to the generator, it'll like perk them up a little bit.
That's interesting. I can see how that would work. It's a good thing. Learning how to talk to each other is a good idea. And even channels and stuff, we learn how to, tribal people, the confidence you need to install in a tribal person versus the, interesting sharing you do with the collective people and all of that. Hard to do anything with the individual except on or off, if you're in or you're not. And so, but the generator, back to this, it's this aura is the release of the energy. So I just want to keep that as a clue before we move on.
So now, how do you talk to your generators? Engage their sacral energy. Generators have a powerful, sustainable energy source that responds best to direct yes no questions that spark their gut response. Frame questions in this yes no way, then it elicits this uh-huh or uh-uh response, right? It's like this frequency, not even so much like it's not like so much a yes or a no, it's this uh-huh, uh-uh that will come out of them, just kind of emerge from their sacral, and allow time for their gut response before expecting an answer. And ask them one at a time, because that's the thing. We'll be like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And it's like, no, you ask your generator a simple, like single yes no question and then wait and then let them respond. Acknowledge their enthusiasm and energy for the tasks they love, and don't push them into tasks that they don't resonate with, as this leads to the not self theme of frustration. Generators thrive responding to external stimuli. Those yes no questions activate their sacral center, helping them make aligned decisions. Generators are magic eight balls. Especially if you have pure sacral authority, then you're really a magic eight ball.
That's me. I have a pure sacral authority, and I don't feel like a magic eight ball. I feel like a spinning top on a busy highway. More so. Oops, the yes no question is such a beautiful thing. It's a literal thing. You frame your phraseology into affirmative or negative questions, period. And this is at the start. It doesn't mean you have to stay there. Think about boring the world is just no, just no, no, just no. We have to expand and get all this language rolling. That happens after the first couple questions, because now we're into, are we bonding? Are we friends? Or all the other stuff. Well, how's your cross talking to my cross? Oh, this is interesting. We're both alive. Look at what we're sharing. Now, just look at generators. Got lots of things, but at each point where something's important, stop and bring it back to a yes or a no. And the next thing about communicating with a generator that's wicked important is witness their delays and answers so you can help them get back to the thing that they just lied to you about a little bit, just a little bit. And they don't really mean it. It's just that it sounds like you don't want to. Is it true that maybe you don't want to? So you're letting them off the hook a little bit. You got to let them off the hook. If you have an expectation and you want them, you can make them. And by the way, like say you're married and one's a generator and one's the projector, and they just dog the generator. You have to come with me to this thing. I need you there, blah, blah, blah. The generator might very well have a good enough time. They've totally, because all of a sudden they're responding to everything. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you're so and so's husband or wife. All of a sudden, yeah, blah, 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 and everything's suddenly fun again. You know, so we don't know. It's not a full off as it relates to forcing the generator to do something. The thing is, it has to be really important for something going on. When I say forcing, it's sort of guilting based on the network or the friendship or the loyalty that's there because there's an actual need. You need something some way because generators, early in human design, there was this fad where it's like, I'm supposed to only do what I want. And people didn't know what to make of that. And so it's like, I can't even think of something ridiculous enough. And that's all there, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Someone in your tribe's going to come along and like grab you by the ear and say, take out the trash. Okay. Right now, it's piling over, and you got to go do it. You live in a thing. I mean, unless you're a total hermit and you actually live alone, you got to go do it because the tribe needs you. So the tribe, in my opinion, is allowed to, at times, based on circumstances, usurp that generator's sacral because they're going to say no matter what. But you got to ask them. Doesn't mean you still have to ask them. Parents do it. Do you like doing your homework? Okay, it'll take a little while longer. Maybe they didn't even want to say no. They don't want to disappoint, but okay. You don't even need to wait a second. You've heard it right away. By the second or third time you ask them, you've honored them, you've asked them as the parent, it's perfectly within your rights to be like, dude, off, phone, hand it to me right now. Do an hour. I'll give it back to you if you just do an hour. Because you know what
Sometimes you
happens?
just have to do your homework.
Right. So, because that's the thing. Sometimes you just have to do your homework, and you know what you'll find that often happens. I worked this out before I ever heard of human design, and because I nailed my kids as generators and didn't even know it. They're going to see something in the book they had to crack open, and there's a 50-50 chance that's interesting. And now they're responding again. The next thing you know, you can't tear them away.
Yeah, no, I definitely find that, especially like it's a thing like at festivals or, you go to an event and it's like, okay, you need to drink some water. And it's like, I don't want to drink some water. I don't want to eat, right? Like somebody's like, I don't want to eat. I don't feel like it. It's like sometimes you just need to start putting food in your mouth and start chewing and going through the process, and then you'll start to like it. It's kind of like that a little
That
bit,
type of
where it's
thing.
like sometimes you have to do your homework, sometimes you just need to eat a sandwich or you're gonna be unwell.
I mean, there's all kinds of things. It's a thing that is just so there. So learn when they're lying and realize and the little lies and learn when that moment is coming that they're about to detach. They'll start to withdraw their energy and you'll see it. And it's incumbent upon you to have a good reason to keep them engaged for another minute, but recognize the fuse is very short now. The fuse got lit. Your time is now limited. You're on a 2 minute countdown type thing. What is that? You're at the 2 minute warning in football. Just recognize these things, recognize them, and then get back to the yes no questions at every focal point in a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And like going back to like the yes no question thing when you engage with them, right? Like as examples, instead of being like, what do you want to eat for dinner? Because your generator will probably blank out at you. Like I've seen it, right? If you give them an open-ended question, they're just like, and then their brain is like, I need to come up with something and start telling you some stupid made-up story, and it doesn't work. And instead, it's just like, you want to eat pizza? No,
Right,
You want Chinese? You want sushi? Well, there you go. Okay, we'll get the
right,
sushi,
right.
right? Instead of like,
It
do you want chicken or beef? It's like, do you want chicken? You want beef? Right? These
sounds like
simple,
pandering,
it does sound a little
but
silly.
it's not.
Yes, exactly. It sounds like you're treating them in a childish way or pandering or anything like
Hopefully
that, but
you
it's
are.
like when you actually like engage with them and you learn that like, oh, this is actually how they best communicate, and you can feel the oomph when it's like a true right? This is another thing they'll do, right? You'll ask them, it's like, oh, do you want to go to this thing? Oh, well, I mean, I guess, blah 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 blah,
Oh
and they start
God.
coming up with this like nonsense story because they don't want to hurt your feelings, right? Or maybe in their past they weren't allowed to honor their sacral response, right? They didn't want to do something. It's like tough, you have to do it, or somebody gets mad at them, right? And so they can develop these kind of, edgy issues where they're going to then start to try to like, their sacral is obviously not into it, but then they feel bad and then they start trying to come up with some nonsense story. And it's like, dude, I saw your sacral response. I heard that. You don't want to do it. I don't care. I don't need your story. I'd rather you not BS me with this nonsense story where it's like you're not into it and I can just leave it at that.
You got to assure them it's not a problem. You got to take a moment to really assure them it's not a problem. My favorite thing in moments like that is just like, you know what? I heard no. I heard no. Is that true? You really don't want to go. Isn't that true? Just say the truth, dude. Say that. All right. I love you, dude. I love you either way. We're good. Thank you. That type of thing. And basically, you came across with the same thing.
Yeah.
Inform them they're not in any trouble.
Especially it's like as a projector, it's like I'm so sensitive to like generator frustration. It's like I would much rather you honor that sacral response than try to like force yourself and do the thing, because then you're gonna be frustrated, it's gonna feel weird, and then I'm gonna feel weird and everything's
And they
gonna
might
get
not
like
show up.
super weird. Yeah, yeah, or they're
That's even worse.
agitated. Yeah. And especially it's like as I can speak as a projector, and the most common thing is gonna be like projectors and generators, just like statistically, it's like try to not like crawl up their butt telling them what to do or trying them to do something or finish doing something, even if as a projector it's like you need to do this thing, you need to do this thing, right? Especially in relationships, like at a certain point it's just like you're going to do what you're going to do and I'll be here if you want my help, right? Because it's like you can really irritate them and then the relationship is going to suffer. So it's like if you're going to do it, try to really honor them and maybe present like, hey, we do need to, we got to sit down and go over the credit card statement or whatever it might be, right? Like we have
Honey,
to do
sit.
this
I
at
need to
some
look at
point.
this credit card statement. Take 2 minutes. Stop. That's a
Yeah.
thing that could be because we need to be stopped sometimes, especially if it's a manifesting generator. If they can't stop, they'll let you know. They'll let you know. But there's a certain bouncing in on them you have to do. Another cool thing with
Well,
generators that my parents did with me, and my parents lived at a college that lived near the college. My dad was a professor, so I was there a lot. My mom one day told me that the students were doing this with me. They watch because I would go in to be in the class with all the big kids, and they would watch what the little generator. They didn't know it was a little generator, but they would watch what the busy little generator does. Watch what your busy generator husband or wife is doing. Just witness them. If you're a generator too, still witness them. What you'll see is the thing that's they want to do. You might have some help with that, not help them get it done or whatever, but something might occur to you as a way to make some money out of it. Something, I don't know what, but just If you, it's just like we're always telling people, don't, don't tell your baby what to do. Watch what they do. That's what's correct. You want to get as correct as you can. Watch the baby fresh out of the womb. That's about as correct as you can get. Whatever it's doing, that's right. That's the thing. So if they don't want that food, yeah, they don't. They don't. When they're hungry, they'll eat. Stuff like that. So,
Generators, manifesting generators, which we'll do on the next slides. But overall, it's like that sacral as a motor, like it's like this like propellant, right? Like their sacral says they're into something. They have this battery within them. They wake up every day with this fresh battery, and the sacral is like, I'm into it. And it will like self propel them in a direction,
yep.
right? And that's what's going to light them up. And that's what's going to be, correct for them, even if it's annoying for us, or maybe we have to get out of the way of that thing, right? But recognizing that if you're going to want to be in a good healthy relationship with the sacral being, it's like you have to have a good relationship with their sacral and honor it. And even if as a projector we could see them do some goofy stuff. We can
Mm,
see those sacrals do some really goofy stuff, but it's not on us to tell them or correct them unless we are invited, because it's just going to be irritating and it's going to make everything worse, and the relationship is worse and the sacral's unhealthy. It becomes this whole mess. And so that's why for the graphic I chose at the top of this page with the guy with the okay, it's just like accept your generator sacral at a certain point. At a certain point, it's like, dude, okay, you're gonna do you, I'm gonna do my thing. Okay, you don't want to book your airplane flight when I really want to do this for us. I'm going to book my flight, and you let me know when you're ready and I will help you book your flight, as opposed to the projector getting mad and mad and mad, right? Like at a certain point, well, if their sacral isn't aligning with your projectoriness, let them go do what they want. And either they're going to succeed on their own, or they'll come back and be like, I messed up and I need your help. Please guide my sacral.
mm. That's so funny. I do like the notion of watching what they do. If you can look out a window and you see a wider perspective and you just watch what the generator is doing, grown ass adult, doesn't matter, kid, and watch it for a little bit, just see what they're doing, things will occur to you that suddenly make it even easier, whatever it is they're doing, and you can watch them light up. By the way, do a generator a favor that makes something easy, and they actually owe you one in a way, not as an owed way, but I mean, they'll come back energetically, it comes back to you, just like paying it forward. It's like a paying it forward dealio without spending any cash.
Yeah, it's like if you can help the generator, right? That's the thing I noticed too as a projector, because so often we're just like, you're doing it wrong and you would do it better if you would do it this way, right? Like, right? Like we're going to be really annoying. But you could, when it's a moment when they're not in the middle of something, it's like, would it be more prudent to do it this way? And if you ask them in a yes no question, it's like it won't irritate them as much than if you're like, you're doing it wrong. It'd be better if you did it this way. Right. It's like, no, wait for like a lull where they're not actively occupied with
Avoid the
something.
avoid the declarative statement. And everything
Yes.
about the conversation is the beginning of the conversation. It's like the channel of maturation. 53 is the beginnings, but 42 is the expansiveness. Your conversation gets to move to the expansiveness of 42, but it's got to start at the beginning. So there's two parts to each conversation, and part one is the questions that get it going, cranking it up. Yeah, might it be better if that didn't wasn't that way? Are you sure about that? Type thing. All of that is oh wow, wow. Da, da, da. And then now the conversation can turn into, oh well, because that might go. Now you're talking back and forth, and then you come to a plateau, back to the beginning of how you're restarting new conversation now. Each time the generator only lives in the now is the thing. And that whole hang up about the generator not being a manifester, every generator becomes partly manifester as soon as they've responded. But the manifester just moves forward the whole time. The generator will hit plateaus, possibly as early as 1 minute later. And if there's nothing new to respond to, they'll be stuck. But as long as the thing leaves a responsive trail coming into their aura, releasing that energy, and sacral being like, yeah, 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 then they turn into manifestors. When we get to the manifesting generator, they totally do temporarily for like a minute at a time, an hour at a time, depending on what the thing is. But they're still always oriented in response. Something new comes in, they better be oriented in response and not trying to think they have to do, because that's where their truth is.
Yeah. It's like with manifestors, it's like they have to still wait out their authority and whatever that is. And then they could inform and do. With a
Yep.
generator type, it's like wait to respond, then do. right? It's like
Right.
we all have our ability to do things in the world, just because I don't want to confuse like manifest, manifestor, and like types. Like I don't want to like muddy the language, but it's like we all have the ability to like act on the world in our own correct methods and timings.
Totally.
Like no one is free from having to wait for timing. Even manifestors have to wait for their own timing to know what they're doing, and they have to inform, right? Like everyone has different rules to play by. It's like watching like a sport. You're watching basketball or baseball or hockey or something. Like every player has an ability to engage in the game, but you're going to want to engage correctly based on your role on the team. Like
Mm.
if you're playing basketball and you're a center forward and you're trying to be a point guard, maybe if you're really good and you could do both and whatever, and you're one of those types, but generally it's like, you want the center to be the center, you want the guard to be the guard, right? You don't want the guy out in right field pretending that, he's a first baseman. It's like they have different roles and we all have an ability to play in the game, but we have different ways of doing that is correct for us. Generators and manifesting generators are both sacral types, and there's a huge overlap. They do have their own little nuances and differences, so I figured talk about them separately. So,
But they're not a separate type. There's four types. I hear a lot of people trying to make a fifth type where I can promise you I am not a separate type.
it's still under the umbrella of the generator type, but manifesting generators have their own specific nuances. So,
Hmm.
manifesting generators have an embracing and an enveloping aura. They have a defined sacral and a motor to the throat. So, on our chart, we have the main manifesting generator channel, which is the 3420. You can have different configurations to make a manifesting generator. So long as they have the red defined sacral and one of the motors makes its way to the throat in some capacity, that'll be
Hmm.
a manifesting generator. But the 3420 is the pure manifesting generator channel. So that's why I included that on the graphic. So
Yeah.
manifesting generators, MGs, combine responsive energy of generators with the initiating spark of manifestors. They're dynamic, but they need flexibility.
They need flexibility a whole ton. It's not just a yes no question anymore. It's an endless trail of forgiveness from a seven centered way. In a nine centered way, it's not really, of course, because they're always skipping the step and moving a little bit quicker. And their question is still, who am I? And their generative aura can easily accidentally start actually manifesting without waiting for the response. It's so natural for them to accidentally step over because of the conditioning. It's not natural for them, correct, in reality, but because of the conditioning, it shows up a lot. And so this aura is still the same. It's still going to pull things in. It's just these cats are jumpy. They're jumpy and they're always pivoting, pivot, pivot, pivot,
Pivot is a
pivot,
good word.
pivot, pivot. And generators pivot. We all pivot, but the manigens they pivot. They're like squirrel, is what it looks like to the other. But point them in the right direction and they'll get a lot of stuff done. Is the thing.
Yeah, it's like the manifesting generator. It's that wait to respond. And then once they respond and the sacral's like, yeah, this is cool, then it could be this. So it's like if you look at like a pure generator, it's kind of like a wait to respond, yes, go. Whereas the manifesting generator, it's wait to respond, yes, and this 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 and this. Like the manifesting generator is like the master of the yes and. The pure generator
Right.
is a yes, go, manifesting generator, yes and.
Right, right. I agree with that. The SAN that add the thing on, they also tend to be a little bit quicker to even do the thing because as a manifesting generator, that sacral, one way, shape, or form, is in the body graph, and a motor goes straight to the throat. Now, if the sacral is connected directly to the throat through whatever means, like through the G center, or it doesn't matter how, but if it does make it to the throat, then that sacral is literally responding into the throat. They can speak. It's not always just the sounds. They're actually speaking their responses half the time.
Yeah,
Um,
I find when it's the 3420, it's more of a yep, nope, yeps, nope.
yep,
Whereas like if it's the other sacral connections, it tends to be more of like the straight uh-huh, uh-uh. And there might
yep,
be a little bit more to it, but it's like I really find with the 3420, then when it's like yep, nope, it's like zoop, 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 zoop.
yep.
It's super, super immediate in that regard.
So these guys, the communication of them still works the same. Be a little more strategic about, make sure the question's important enough. Otherwise, you won't get an edge in. That much is for sure with the manage end. So, like, not just bother them with any old thing. The regular generator, you can ask them yes, no about things that aren't related to what they're doing, and they'll honor that for a moment before they tune out and go do their thing. But the Manigen is like it's like trying to put chains on the Kraken and hold them still. But so could be really direct with the yes or no.
And we actually have a really good comment question that we can elaborate on. Do you subscribe to the idea that manifesting generators have more of a two-step process, the wait to respond and inform? So what I think it definitely helps if a manifesting generator waits to respond and informs, but I don't know if it's always going to come naturally or they're going to remember to. So I think it would definitely help them and the other types to like know what the manifesting generator is going to
Possibly,
do, possibly, but
possibly
it's
as an overlay, but don't count on me to do that because my response is much faster than my memory.
yes, exactly. Like, exactly.
I mean, so you know what? I'm going to go with basically no, but a little bit. You can watch a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to ask the question to find out if are they initiating or are they responding.
Yeah, exactly. It's that first you want that wait to respond. And then if they can tell us, that'd be super cool. But like Danny said, it's like I kind of feel like we can't expect it of them, even if it would be helpful to us and probably even helpful to them. It turns into another one of those like, just get out of their way. Like I've learned with my pure manifesting generators, my 3420s, it's like when they're busy, like if they're in the kitchen, like they're bouncing around like a super ball. It's like I don't need to get up in the middle of that. I'll just go be laying down somewhere away because if we get in the middle of the manifesting generator super ball situation,
Yeah,
it could
ball.
feel like being yeah, it can feel like being in a tornado. And I find that I can even get like nauseous with the 3420 if it's too much and overwhelming and they're bouncing around and like I can't handle it. I'll just get out of the way is kind of like the best situation there. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not quite what else sure to say about the MG. Just recognize that they're supposed to skip steps. They're bouncing around at various things, and they're required to bounce ahead. Whatever they're doing, they're required to step ahead.
The manifesting generator, right? They're extra zippy and speedy. Once that like sacral response, yes, and then they're going, it's like then they could be really bouncy and speedy and doing the thing and skip the steps. And they can skip the steps and make things happen faster. And it can seem like they're going so much faster than you, and like they are, but then at the same time, they may skip a step that they needed to not skip, right? Like maybe they
Uh,
skipped steps 2, 3, 4, and 5, and maybe 2, 3, and 5 were good to skip, but you really needed to hit 4. And then they'll have to kind of come back around and then
yep.
like, oh, let me repeat this, and they can get like all annoyed about it. So in the timeline of types of like different all our different types is like we're functioning in different speeds of existing in the world, and sometimes especially as a projector it can feel like we're going very slowly in comparison to like a manifesting generator, but just know it's like yeah, they're moving faster, but they're going to skip some important stuff and they're going to have to come back around. Whereas like it's almost like the tortoise and the hare, where it's like the hare is going super fast but then he's going to forget something, mess up, and have to go back, whereas like the projector's just like the little hare that's slow and steady, and then we like find some clever way and we basically get to the finish line at the same time.
Essentially, that's what ends up happening. I mean, mostly that's how that's actually supposed to work. Dude, think about it. The forces chose to split up the world into thirds, essentially. One third Manny gens, a little less. One third regular gens, hair more. One third everyone else. Mainly, never mind emotional definition or not, just that sacral on, sacral off. That's third, third, third. You know, the forces were very interested, and the genetic program was interested in having both of these aspects. One is like the sweeper going through, and the other is the zigzaggy agent catching things at the getting ahead of the sweeper to get things that the sweeper shouldn't sweep, maybe, or whatever. You need them both. An army needs that. A company needs that. You know, put our steady people on the thing. Get someone out front. You just need that.
So now, how do you talk to your manifesting generators? Blend response and initiative. Start with the yes no questions, right? It's like with that sacral, they need something to respond to. So you start with the yes no question and allow them to multitask. Manifesting generators often juggle multiple interests. Don't force them into one thing. Like they might be doing 3 or 4 different things at once and it might seem like they never finish, but they need to bounce around and they'll pull different things as they're meant to, like let them be little bouncy balls. And they may pivot or change plans as they're responding to new stimuli. Support their process rather than locking them in. It might seem a little wild because they're here, there, and everywhere, and it just
Static
like
thing.
let them do their own thing and go somewhere else, basically. Acknowledge their ability to move quickly and juggle tasks, and honor their need to respond while giving them the freedom to initiate, preventing frustration or anger.
Manage will be quicker to move through that frustration into a sudden outburst. That's true. But I mean, it's not designed to last. Other than that, I find you talk to them basically the same way. You let them multitask, let them be busy with their hands, let them be cooking their dinner while they're talking to you, let them be whatever. Like if you want to talk while you're in the kitchen, just make sure it's not something that's making them have to stop. What do you think of, let's pick some colors for the room? No, Ika's doing whatever, he's doing his kitchen madness, bouncy ball thing. But there'd be nothing stopping you from going in there and sitting down, making your coffee while he's moving around and just bringing up something. He can
As
talk
long as
back
you're
while
not
he's
interrupting.
well, right.
Don't
But
interrupt the manifesting generators when they're busy. They don't
I,
like that.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I'm just
Like
saying
I
we can talk while we're busy. It's like chew gum and walk thing. We can actually talk while we're busy. But
yes,
you're right.
absolutely.
You
But
wouldn't
yeah,
know. Actually, a good thing to recognize would be that moment of staleness that will happen when they don't want to, but because they asked you a question suddenly, and you just see a moment of reservation that you see it disorganizes their movement. That would be your first clue that might not be the right time.
that's a really good observation. Yeah, it's like if you're disorganizing your manifesting generator by like talking to them, it's like maybe I should not be bothering them right now.
I can't tell you how many times Jane would, as a projector, would start talking to me while I'm trying to play the piano. Can't do both. Can't do both.
So you could talk and do something, but not talk and play piano.
Correct. Correct.
certain
Unless I'm singing something or whatever, but I know the words.
certain
But
things you
right,
could multitask on and certain things you can't.
agreed.
Yeah, it's again, the manifesting generator thing is the like magic 8 ball, sacral magic 8 ball, and like asking them questions in that simple yes or no way, and then letting them respond and then letting them multitask from there, right? That's why we picked the little super ball because they're going to bounce around. They're going to do these different things and kind of it's best to not get in their way. It's best to not interrupt them. It's best to not, as a projector, try to correct them when they're in the middle of something. It's like they're grown-ups. They can handle most things on their own. So just as like a projector, it's like try to not get offended when they're bouncing away from you.
So I guess something else a little bit occurs to me about that bouncing stuff and how stuff is just sort of getting away from them. When they're on the move doing their thing and there's all that stimuli going on, it's entirely possible that you are supposed to interrupt them. You have to watch what they're doing. Generators need guidance. So if you see your Gen starting to get into trouble, freaking say something, please.
Depending on
And
the situation, I think that's so situationally
it
dependent
is.
because you tell a projector that and they will feel justified in always interrupting because projectors, we can always find something that you're doing wrong. Baseline, a projector in your life is always going to be able to see you're doing that inefficiently. And if we told you that, like that would be really annoying. So even like, yeah, if they're about to
But
like
we
step
need
in,
guidance. We do need guidance because our guidance system is a response. And so
yes,
the
but
guidance is the asking.
when it's correct. Like,
Right.
don't interrupt them. If they're about to get hit by a car, like, yeah, interrupt them and like pull them out of that. But oftentimes it's like, if you just start bugging them when they're doing something, you're just going to bother them and they're not going to hear you and they're not going to learn. So, more so, manifesting generators, if you're struggling and messing up with something, ask your projectors for help because I think it's a bit dangerous to say interrupt your manifesting generators as a projector. It's like no, don't. You're going to irritate them. Like, unless it's a life death situation, it's like they know how to handle life. Like, they can drive, like, they live out in the world every day. And so, manifesting generators, if you are struggling and you need guidance, ask your projectors. And projectors wait to be asked for guidance.
Fair enough. I
Most
mean, I essentially agree. Yeah.
Next up, we're going to talk about our projectors who have a focused and penetrating aura. So, with a projector, there's no defined sacral. So, the sacral center down in the chart is just plain old white and not red and filled in. And they have no motor to the throat. So, most of the channels in the body graph are projected channels, right? So if there's no sacral and no defined motor to the throat, it's a projector, but projectors thus are the most varied in the different types of authorities and how they can function, but we all have that focused and penetrating aura. Projectors are natural guides and advisors that thrive when invited to share their insights. They lack consistent energy for initiating. If projectors try to initiate, like, we will crumple like an aluminum can underfoot. Like if I try too hard to like push something and make it happen and push into the world or make somebody do something, I will completely crumble and it's not fun. So don't do that.
It's really true. That penetrating aura puts you literally into the aura, just like when I said the manifestor, don't look. With the projectors, as soon as you do look, you're penetrating, if you're close enough, essentially. And so just realize that, because that is going to help inform not only yourself, but the other as to how they're communicating with you. Oh, this person is, their aura is moved into my body partly, and it's this focused energy, and it's focusing into a little point. Oh, look, as below, so above. I'm being engaged. So we don't even need to know this part that it's going into me to recognize, oh, I'm pulled in here and I'm being engaged at this moment.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point of projectors need to be really careful of where we're pointing that thing because we don't
Point it with your
realize
eyes
it
mostly, in my
with the
opinion.
eyes, but just your eyes are gonna be like the thing. But in general, it's like where you're pointing that focused aura, which will then be indicated by your eyes or your bodily positioning, right? Because it's just
Your
like
voice, I guess. You could close your eyes and still be talking to the person, and trust me, you're in there. I get it.
yeah, but the point being is just like be careful where we're aiming this because we are inside the other person and we don't realize it. Projectors don't realize like we are up and inside somebody. It is like a probe into somebody's being and we don't realize it because we're just walking around and you're like, what do you mean? I just see these things as they're in front of me. How do you not see it? That's what it feels like as a projector. How do you not see these things that are like right in front of your face? Like it is boggling to a projector watching non-projectors be completely oblivious to things that seem so obvious, but they're not obvious to other people because other people have different auras and they're engaging in the world differently, and we are so focused in on whatever is in front of us, what we're engaged with, what we're looking at, for better and worse. Like we can get involved with some really bad people and then you can be stuck in it because now you're in it, right? Like we are eating that energy and we're so focused in and we think we're going to fix it. We so think we're going to fix everything and fix the world as a good little projector when it's not our job and it's not our business unless we're recognized and invited. And so I think we really need to be so careful as projectors because we are so vulnerable and both in what we're taking in because we could be taking in some bad energy and we can be really annoying. Like projectors can be horrendously annoying that are just shoving our business up into somebody else and it's irritating to them and it is repellent and it's also we're so vulnerable when we're focusing in on somebody. It's like our back is completely vulnerable and we don't even know what's going on there. Be very aware as a projector of where you're pointing that thing and for your own betterment and health and for other people.
Yeah, and don't gauge in conversations that make you bitter. That's part of your
Yeah.
dealio in order to make sure, like, if it's already bothering you, stop. You have to stop. And that's going to be a thing you have to finesse in your own life so you can see it. Oh my God, I went too far. Oh my God, I went too far. It's like the enough is enough thing. I went too far.
That's a
I
super good point.
in law, we call it want of. No, no, no. They don't have a thing. They have want of the thing. And that's what happens. It's just a want of it, but for want.
With projectors, it's because bitterness, it's deep. It's a deep thing, right? Like a frustration, it's in the moment. It's flash in the pan
Even
kind of
not very
thing.
deep. It has to happen over and over again to dig a groove, and then and then we got a problem. But bitterness is deep quickly.
Yeah, it's deep. And one of the things I was listening to one of the raw projector lectures, and what he said was like bitterness isn't there in the beginning. Bitterness is there in the middle. Because now we've gotten so involved with somebody or some situation and we think we're going to fix it and we're all caught up in it. We're lost outside of ourselves in this other thing. And then it's not working. And we've already invested so much. And it's like sunk cost fallacy. I put so much into this relationship and I think I'm going to fix it and it's not working and the bitterness is there and you're miserable and your face is scowly and all these like bad times things. So really try to notice is like the difference between bitterness and success, bitterness and sweetness, right? Am I soft and bubbly and happy and successful? Like as a projector, if I am not successful as a projector, I am doing something wrong. And that means that I could do something better. I can course correct. If I could recognize I'm failing at something, I'm doing something wrong. And in order to be successful, I need to not initiate. I need to not try to make things happen. I need to not accept those really icky invitations that get me nowhere. I need to listen to my authority. And if I do those things and I relinquish trying to fix the world, because, oh man, do projectors, we just think we're so great and we're going to save everybody. If everyone just listened to us, we're just going to make the world better. And it seems like it comes from like a good place, but it's so arrogant and it makes us so bitter and it makes everyone else so miserable. So it's like, if you're not being successful in your own world, don't think that you're going to save the world. Like, figure out how to be
The
successful
arrogance
in
of
your
that
own life.
is
Yeah.
profound because it's the same arrogance of the generator, the manager, and that is convinced they're going to go do, and they start doing because they can generate that, they can live totally incorrectly, and survive that, for a spell. Right? I was in sales. I had to go initiate the sale everywhere. I survived that. Wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. The
Hmm.
jobs that gave me a phone call and said, "Oh, we have a sit for you in Lee, Massachusetts in 4 hours. Can you make it there?" Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go. Boom, that was a question. Rather than go knock on doors and gather up sales and make people buy stuff. Whoa, I was actually good at it. But guess what? I couldn't get the hardest part of the day was getting out of the car to start. I didn't want to be there. To force myself every single time. No good. This is that thing. So as we move into the next slide, you'll see why we're saying all this stuff because the aura, it doesn't just lock into you, it relocks back to them. When you throw a mooring line from the Queen Mary or whatever to the dock, the Queen Mary is tied to the dock and the dock is tied to the Queen Mary. You know what I mean? They're tied together. So
Yeah, projectors, like, we will get caught up in situations in which what makes it even more the while of like initiating is not good for us. Like, we can initiate in our own life of like, you want to learn a skill, you want to learn how to sew or knit, you want to read a book, like, do what you want to do for yourself. But if we try to make things happen in the world and we try to make other people do things, it's going to super blow up in our face and it's not going to be the right people. Right? If we're like, oh, I really like this person, I'm going to initiate this relationship, it might end up being a horrible relationship that now you're caught in for like the better part of a decade and now you're bitter and miserable. Whereas if we just held back, hang out on the side, wait to see who recognizes us, wait to see who truly recognizes us and appreciates us and invites us in, and it feels good and it's an invitation and the authorities into it, and then we can know it's correct. But there's no way for a projector to know if something is correct if we don't wait to be invited and then get that recognition and accept the invitation if it's correct to our authority beyond the bitterness. If you're bitter, it's not the right place for you, but now you're caught up in it and now you have to untangle yourself before you can get out, and then maybe,
disentangle.
yeah, you have to waste all this energy disentangling from stuff that you were never meant to be a part of in the beginning.
Yeah. So, and there's two really good clues if you want to find out if your aura is lagged on to the wrong place, if it's connected into the wrong place. It'll be, I'm trying to initiate this relationship, which you just mentioned. I'm trying to initiate more material in my life because I think I need it. So it's those two things. Those are the big heavy hitters as to the moments where you're locking on where you're not supposed to. You're initiating when you're not supposed to. But Moni's right. You don't need to initiate yourself to go brush your teeth. You don't need to initiate yourself to be like, oh my God, I haven't seen this book in years and blow the dust off. You start reading. You never know. You don't need to initiate for any of those things. The creative pursuits that pour out naturally, that's what you guys do. So when we move to the next slide, just notice they're about mastering systems, all kinds of it. That's going to be part of how we talk to the detective.
Now, for how to talk to your projectors, invite their wisdom. Invite your projector's perspective with open ended questions. How do you feel about that? Right? Explicitly invite them to contribute. What do you think about that? Acknowledge their unique perspective. And don't expect them to work tirelessly like generators. Give them space to rest. What's the nicest thing you can do for your projectors? Just encourage us to like go lay down and chill. Take it easy. Discharge that sacral energy. That's the nicest thing that you could do for us. Projectors feel valued when their wisdom is sought. Avoid their not self theme of bitterness from being overlooked, right? Like, we like being recognized. It's what literally lights us up. It's not like I'm being a brat of like, you didn't recognize me. It's just like, if you want to actually light me up and get my energy going, it requires that recognition and it requires an invitation. like I hate yes no questions. I love asking sacrals yes no questions, but as a projector, if you ask me a yes no question, there is nothing in my body or being that is going to give you a truthful response. As opposed to like is it cold outside? Like yeah, it's winter. I could tell you that. But if you actually want something of me, my energy and my being, I hate yes no questions because nothing comes up for me. And now I have to make up this nonsense mental response, or I'm just going to default into what that sacral being wants me to do because I'm just going to reflect their sacral. An example, it's like my boyfriend asking me to watch a movie and he asked, "Do I want to watch this movie?" It's like, I don't really have any opinion on this movie or watching a movie. There's nothing there. He like paused, walked away, and came back. And he's like, I would like to watch this movie with you. I think it'd be really fun to sit down and cuddle up, and I'll make you some hot cocoa and we can have a nice time. And I was like, that's an invitation. That's what I can get behind. So it's like, it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing, right? He's still asking me to watch a movie, but it's like, I have no opinion on watching a Godzilla movie. There's nothing in me that's like, yeah, let's do that. But if you're going to make this a nice thing and you're going to go, I really want to hang out with you and cuddle and make you hot cocoa, it's like, yeah, that's an invitation I can get behind. And we watched a Godzilla movie and it was a great time.
Can we just add on what do you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, so depending on it, right? Like if you're asking my opinion on something, if like Danny will always default to a yes no question. And I've
Yes.
had been
Oh,
slowly training
dude,
him to
that's
just add, what do you think about that? So that's what we've kind of found as a middle ground is like he'll ask a yes no question, then he's like, what do you think about that? And then we can kind of middle ground. But the best way, ideally, would be inviting of like, I'm really curious your thoughts on that. Can you share? Kind of situation.
it's hard. It is hard. I admit it. It is in fact incredibly difficult. I forget all the time. I have all these default settings. I don't understand why everyone's not like me half the time. It's a weird phenomenon. But I like the thing, what do you think? Because it's just sort of an add-on. Because when we're talking to the projectors, we have to really remember that I said it many times. They're the sophistication of the generator in a few respects, because everything about their strategy is totally sophisticated. As it's like leveled up from where the generator's like, But that's an invitation to ask a question in a sense. So we've got an open invitation for you to ask a question, and then there's our interaction. But with you guys, it's got to be finessed. It's sophisticated. It actually needs a little more language, and it's wicked hard sometimes.
And like to be patient with your projector. So Leah has a really good comment here. She says, I'd say we fall into over talking and over explaining because alone yes or no isn't enough. And it's like, yeah, projectors need to blah blah. Like we need to blah blah it out and find our thoughts and what we think about something and express it. So it's also like you kind of, if you love a projector, like try to have some patience because we're processing so many things and also depending on configuration and how many open centers and stuff like that, but it's like we're taking in so much that we just got to blah blah it out. So it's like if you actually really care to recognize, hey, this is my person and I love them and they have some really great thoughts, and sure sometimes she rambles and it can get a little but I know I'll get to some good stuff in the end. Like if you can have that understanding and that recognition that we don't function like you. We're not like 70% of the population of sacrally defined generators who are going to build and do and create the world. And you have this life force energy that's so juicy. So often growing up, it's like I obviously didn't know any of this. And I felt like there was something wrong with me because everyone else around me has this get up and go at it, like this thing about them that just was lacking within me. And it felt so sad to like for people to not recognize like, no, there's a value here and she's got some really good stuff because it wasn't a sacral. And it's almost like, what's wrong with you? Like, why aren't you like everyone else in this way? So recognize we are different. We don't function like you. We live in a different timeline, and to really understand that about us. And if you do, we can give you some really good, juicy stuff. We got pearls and gold and all these gifts if you recognize us and appreciate us and, take care of us in the way we need.
I agree. When I talk to a projector, generally speaking, try not to have a curtailed time frame. So don't invite them if you're inviting them for 30 seconds, unless you didn't tell them up front, because maybe that's all the time there is or something. But
Yeah,
it's
projectors, we need time. We need time to
don't
simmer.
invite, don't make the invitation conditional on a limitation on the time. Just don't do it, So let that be in the words you're using. Let that be in your demeanor and your energy, because these guys, man, they're penetrated right into us. If we're a little angsty and we're not really saying it like it is, it goes over to them. generator to generator, we don't notice. Our auras are in each other. Don't get me wrong, they're there, but we're busy. We don't really notice, what they're putting in us unless we're uncomfortable with it, and then we're trying to get away from them too. But ultimately, it's not the same. It's a total finessed version up. And so don't, when you're talking, build in the fact that in your language, in your demeanor, in your way, that there's a little more time.
Yeah, we're not anywhere near as speedy as a generator or like a manifesting generator. Like we are like the tortoise and the hare, like we are the tortoise, right? Like we have that slower thing.
Well, the
Yeah.
generator's meant to have a second wind. There's no
Hmm.
limit, there's rarely a practical limit to the amount of second wind a generator can suddenly be generated into. And the practical limit is, after a day or two, you're going to have to fall asleep. Okay, I get that. Growing up, the projectors, the non-sacral types would have noticed I don't have that same phenomenon, and they might not have called it a second wind, but it would just be like the extra motion. Oh, it's time for bed, but they're up again, cranking away. And I'm sleepy tired. That's not going to happen for the projector. They're not going to get up with that second wind unless they're amplifying that sacral motor.
Yeah, unless they get back up and they're amplifying it. And yeah, that's definitely a thing. It's like if you were up as a projector, if you were up later than the generators and you're doing stuff beyond the generators, like we don't know when enough is enough. We don't. We absolutely don't know when enough is enough. And so if the generators are chilling out and laying down and like they're done, maybe it's time for us to be done.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
the other,
totally.
you brought up a good point that I wanted to bring up as well, whereas like with generators, right? They have this open and enveloping aura that's pulling everything towards them. So there is this like absorbing aspect, but then to differentiate that between the projectors, which is like focused and penetrating. And so I kind of think of it as like the generator aura is absorbing from the outside in, whereas the projector aura is absorbing from the inside out, right? So like if the generator aura is more like a sponge, the projector aura is like a probe. Like we are inside the person and we are probing them. And that could be very uncomfortable if they don't want us there. And we don't even realize that we're doing it, but we're like right up in on them, wiggling around. And like as a projector, don't be surprised when that irritates somebody because they didn't ask for it, right? It's like a consent violation, like an energetic consent violation. So recognize that we really get up into people and be careful with it because like we could hurt people. Like projectors, I was thinking about it today, whereas like a bad projector who's like super out of alignment and super bitter, it's like we can be some of the most destructive because we can get up into people and know what's going on with them and really destroy some stuff in our bitterness. Realize what we're doing and what we're putting out there because yes, we have a lot of beautiful things to share and wisdom and insights when it's correct, when it's invited, when it's coming from this place of sweetness or success. But realize like our bitterness can do a lot of damage and harm. And like nobody owes us anything. Nobody owes us listening to us and taking our advice, even if we know better. Right? Like, as a projector, we have no right to claim or demand anything if we are not recognized and invited into it. And if we can accept that, there's so much peace that can come with it and sweetness and softness because we can be so
You're
arrogant
off the
thinking,
hook at that
yeah,
point. It's
yes.
only the not self mind that is truly concerned with the yeah, but of all of that and trying to get it all back together. And just like yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's what you taught me is the I don't want to care about that
You don't
because I
want to
could get
care.
so caught up in they're
Yep.
doing this wrong and this is wrong and you could be more efficient and da da da. I could just list everything around me that I see that could be done better. And all it does is make me a bitter, miserable mm-mm-mm. And it's not fun. And so I've been practicing Danny's. I don't want to care about
You
this.
don't want to care
This
about
isn't
that.
mine. I don't
You
want to care.
don't care about that.
Yeah, like the way the construction guys are fixing the highway and that it's inefficient. Do you have any control over like the IDOT system? No. Too bad. Let it go. You don't want to care about it. So, as a projector, try to practice that of like letting go of that arrogance of trying to save the world and just like clean your own room first. Take care of your own house, find success in your own life and in your own relationships, and then
And
see where
ignore the
that can
crap
build.
out of the generator as much as you want. We don't need your attention half the time. It's just, and the other half the time we do is the thing. It's the guidance part.
Friends with audio popped in with I don't care about that.
You don't want to care, friends with audio. Trust me. You're all the things that are your trauma and this and that. It's there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you don't have it, but you don't want it. You don't want it. You don't care. You don't want to have to care about it. And the real you doesn't. But the conditioned us, has even big trauma. I get it. It's here today still too. You still don't want it. That's just a fact. I don't want
Nosy?
rotten milk, so I don't drink it.
There you go, projectors. Stop drinking rotten milk.
Right, right,
Find the sweet success of some, some sweet
right.
cream.
Put some sugar in that thing.
Finally, we're going to talk about our reflectors. So, reflectors have an aura that samples the environment and samples the people around them. And so, on a chart, they have no definition, right? So, all their centers are white. They'll have the different hanging gates on different centers, but every actual center is white and there's no connected channel definition. So, reflectors are rare. They're about 1% of the population, and they reflect the health of their environment, and they need time. They need time to process because they're sampling this and they're sampling this. It's like they're sampling every single hors d'oeuvre and every single poo-poo platter, and they need to try it all before they can tell you what their favorite dish is. So they need that time, at least a lunar cycle, which is like 28, 29 days before they're making decisions.
Bigger decisions, absolutely. And
Yeah.
they need to start at the point in time when that happens. So the lunar cycles will always change. They don't start at the same time each month. But yeah, this total openness makes these creatures totally different from us. And their aura is it samples. It's first it absorbs, it's absorbing, and then it samples, but that absorbing it also keeps you at bay. Reflector and the manifestor auras are the most closely related in similarness. Manifestor aura is technically more dense in that way. But this aura is very dense too, because it keeps everyone at bay. You sort of can't get into the reflectors. They're like Teflon. They slip.
Slippery.
Yeah. And when you're talking to them, which we'll get into the next slides, is you got to understand they're totally different. When I say totally different, we are solar beings, the rest of us. When I say solar beings, we're always looking at that sun, earth, and where it's moving to get our definition and everything. But as soon as there is no definition to act as counterpoint in the body, then these become lunar beings, and they're actually connected to the program, not the conditioning of the people. They're connected to that. They're connected to the conditioning of the program. We're not totally conditioned by the program because we already have definition that will still act itself out. But since they don't, they are the sons and daughters of the actual program. That's what makes them so different. So that aura samples, holds you at bay, it absorbs some of you and then lets it go. And at some point, they'll let you in or not.
Yeah, the slippery nature of them is really interesting, and I'm glad you brought up like the density, right? Because the manifestors, like you said, are the most dense as their aura, right? It's like the manifestors have like a wall around them that is going to push away this undue influence, right? Like, don't bug me. I'm here to impact and do my own thing, says the manifestor, right? With the reflector, it's like a step down in like density, where it's still like solid, but it's Teflon, right? And it's like sampling a little bit of this and it's sampling a little bit of this, but you can't really quite grasp onto them, right? Like those little water toys from when we were like kids and stuff in the 90s that kept slipping through your hands.
You
They're
know,
kind of like that. The other interesting thing, I have like one reflector I know in real life, otherwise it's online. So it's like got that Pokemon. And it's one of those things where I will really enjoy this person and realizing it's just like, am I enjoying him or am I enjoying how he's reflecting me? And that's kind of saying that I enjoy myself and he's reflecting a positive aspect of myself that I can enjoy that. So it's like, it's kind of funny. You can't quite grasp onto them and you kind of just got to let them sample, do their own thing and bounce around. But you can, if you do see them, especially in like a community situation, the health of the reflector will reflect the health of the community. So if you see a reflector within a community and like they're doing really good and they look really vibrant and healthy, you're like, cool, that is a healthy community. And in another situation where I saw this reflector at an event and I was like, he does not look well. Like he looks all kind of thrown off and weird and not whatever. And I was like, oh, this community is in a state of really ill health, and it can be it kind of like a wild situation if you can observe it. So if you have a reflector in your life, notice how they are like in a situation, in a group, in an environment, and that could tell you a whole lot of like, the spidey senses of what is the health and wellness of the community and the environment that they're in.
not to mention something you need to know before we move on, as we move on to this next slide, is that whatever you're talking to today, tomorrow they're going to be different.
Mm.
So, like, oh, we made plans, we got this thing. Tomorrow the plans are off. 3 days from now, the plans aren't the same. a reflector called me and they wicked wanted, they got to get to the bottom of this thing. And I was like, oh, it's getting a little late. How about I give you a call tomorrow? Tomorrow never came. They're like, oh, yeah. They themselves didn't have the want anymore. They moved, they changed. They are the shapeshifter because they have changing definition. We don't. We have sometimes moving definition because the program will light up another gate of ours on the other side and give us a channel. But our definition that's already there does not change. Since they don't have any, they only have changing definition. And that's a pretty big deal. So we'll keep that in mind.
I have a really great question from Leah. So Leah writes, I wonder why we have so few, as the gift to monitor the health of the community seems a very important role. And I think like what kind of came to me, it's like when you see like humans living in big cities, it causes a lot of issues, right? We kind of turn into like captive animals and we don't like health goes down and these different issues arise. Whereas like humans do best in groups of like 100-ish. So I kind of wonder if it reflects like a healthy human community is like 100, 100 and 30 or something like that, whatever the statistic is. And I wonder if it kind of reflects the natural state of like a larger community or a larger tribe, which would be about like 100-ish people. But I want to hear your thoughts, Danny.
So few is because of the conditioning of the world. These little unicorns are just not uncovered yet. There are so few already, and half of them are acting out generator life. I don't know what the number is, but
But even
many
just
of
that
them.
there's a 1%, like even if you
Right.
don't know that they're a reflector, but that there's
Yeah, and
still
half
just
of them
1%.
are half of them are very much acting out what they're not and stuff, so they're not going to show up the same. I mean, that's my sense of the answer to this question, because really, what else could it be? They would show up all the time. 1% is not a small number when you're talking about 8 billion people on the planet. So these folks are everywhere. Everywhere you look, I just look out my neighborhood. I'm in a, not urban, but suburban area. If I just, that which I can just see around me, we got over 100 people. Everywhere I go, there's over 100 people. One out of
That's
100 is a
true.
reflector. Just everywhere I go, there's always 100. I walk into an office building. Yeah, the office staff, there's only, 8 people in this one office, but it doesn't matter. To add up 3 or 4 more offices, we're at 100 people.
That makes sense. Yeah, 1% seems like a really small number, but then if you kind of zoom out, it's like, yeah, but we got like 8 billion on the planet. So, yeah, that makes sense.
That's 800 million. Excuse me, 80 million.
I'm glad you did the math on it because I was like, I would need like a pen and paper and like moving some decimals over.
That's no funny. Yeah. But
Nosy.
80 million, that's a lot to smush all over the face of the planet. They're sprinkled everywhere.
Talking to our reflectors, give them space and time. More than anything, give them that time because they're processing the changing program. It's like 2 to 3 times a day the moon is moving through different gates. So, like, they're processing a lot there. So, don't pressure them for quick decisions. Reflectors are sensitive to their surroundings. Ensure conversations happen in a calm and positive setting. Encourage them to share how they're feeling about their environment. Acknowledge their unique ability to reflect the world around them. Giving reflectors time and space prevents their not self theme of disappointment from rushed or misaligned decisions.
It's about the not rushing them. Everything will misalign if you try to rush them. And by the way, they're Teflon. You sort of can't. But at the same
They'll
time,
kind
you
of just slip
can.
away.
They slip away. You sort of can't, but yet you totally can. They have no defenses once you get in. Generator has a defense. They can like degenerate away from you. But these guys have a manifestor. We don't need to talk about them. Of course, they have a defense. The next most defenseless would probably be the projector, in a way, because as you penetrate in one place, everything else about you is open.
I
And
would still say projectors are more vulnerable than reflectors because reflectors have a Teflon that's
they do.
slipping them away, like a projector's
Overall,
inside
they
of a
are.
person. Yeah,
I'm talking about after they get in. After someone gets in, there's a sort of defenselessness. They have to re-put up their shields to become slippery again. Um,
interesting.
but as they're doing that, whatever it is that they're doing, the way to really talk to them is in some kind of inclusive language, some kind of inclusivity where the subjects are spatially about the rest of everything else. You need to talk to a generator, you ask a yes no question. If you need to talk to a reflector, you can start with a topic that is expansive a little bit as it relates to what's going on with the people or over here, or how are you with all of this? And then you can sort of get into the other things or whatever it is. By the way, because they're totally open, they are all the types. People don't really realize that much. The reflector is all the types because one day they're this and one day they're that. They are the changing lines. This is And we are the recipients of the changed lines, but they are the changing lines in real time. So the talking to them, to me, is like about their environment. I'm going to need some help here. It's going to be about what is it that they have going on that also has something to do with the bigger picture as it relates to their movement, Open G Center. So their direction has got to feel good to them. And if it does, then you can talk to them. If it doesn't, it's going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point with the idea that like reflectors are so sensitive to their environment. And so that undefined G center, that undefined identity, right? Anyone with an undefined identity, it's kind of like a spidey sense for you, right?
For
If
the wrong
you
place.
Yes, exactly. So if you have an undefined identity, if you feel weird in an environment, you're in the wrong
You're right.
environment,
Yeah,
right?
you're right.
If you feel like, hey, this spot feels weird, I don't know, this restaurant just doesn't feel right, like it's not meant for you. And so if you're in the wrong place, you will be with the wrong people for any undefined identity, but especially for our reflectors because they are so super sensitive to the environment and sampling that. So, respect that sensitivity to environment and place, and, if they feel weird, be like, cool, we can go somewhere else. Like don't hold them to the commitment of like, no, we said we were going to go to this restaurant, so we have to. It's like, no, they're picking up on something that, maybe if you eat there, you'll get food poisoning or something like that. Whereas,
Don't
you
know,
know,
but right.
yeah, honoring their sensitivity to environment.
Yeah, other things for reflectors, because they're on this lengthy cycle, I would think you can talk to them in lengthier ways as it relates to what is the subject. You want pizza? That's great for a generator. May I invite you to some pizza? I had some interesting ideas. What do you think? For the manifestor, dude, I got pizza. You just let them know.
I
I
got
got
pizza. If
pizza.
you want
I,
some, I have
I got
it.
pizza. And for the reflector, it's like, I sort of want pizza. Where is that pizza place? Is that any good? Oh, it's over here. It's got an environment of this or that. I got stuff to say about it. So it's like longer, expanded because it's got to encompass more space. That's why I say we're speaking to them spatially in a way, not exclusively, because you got to talk about regular things too. To me, it's the aspect of asking them about the environment, questions oriented towards what is it like there? Is that any good? Have you seen anything out there? Do you like anyone? Do you like those people? Every place we're going to go to a restaurant, it's always going to be along those lines. We're going to watch a movie, it's going to be around those lines. Whatever we're going to do. We're going to go out for a walk. It's, hey, do you remember what direction you normally like to go when you go for a walk, or can I take you somewhere? So that's up to them, and they get to see if they don't feel like picking something, they'll just go wherever it was you were starting to walk. And if they start getting uncomfortable and they don't want to be there any longer, that's true.
Yeah, I wonder if it'd also be beneficial with reflectors to kind of present them with different places or situations of like being able to sample different environments. Like, hey, I
Totally.
know I know this really good spot. I know this really good, dancing club, or I know this really good restaurant, or like, oh, there's this really great play that's happening or something with these great performers. Like being able to give them cool places to sample.
And those cool places where you can't quite give them to them in reality because you're sitting at home deciding what to do in that moment or whatever. There's every chance they've already been there or they know about the area or something because that's their thing, knowing about areas and just knowing about the health of the whole thing. For the reflector, you really got to have more stuff going. You got to know that profile. You got to know it. You got to know that incarnation cross. You got to know the nodes in the moon. You got to know these things and see them. You got to know where is the most of their definition because that'll be most of their hanging gates. If one center is like loaded down with more than the others, like seems disproportionately loaded down with hanging gates, that's the one that's going to get lit up the most each month. So they can lean towards that a little more. So look at that in their chart. Just generally speaking, understand if they're a 2-4 or 1-3, they might not care. So you'll have to call them out or offer them something to investigate or something of that nature. As they get up higher in the profile lines, obviously they will care a little bit more. They'll be a little bit easier in that way, but it's still about the larger questions. And then anything trivial to talk about or mundane, it fits in and amongst that. And if the reflector doesn't want to talk about anything of the larger things and they just want to stay in, follow that along for a little while. That might have some value. Or they might be overly conditioned and don't want to see the world. Or they might be deconditioning and really don't want to see the world as it is, you know.
Generators are like the easiest in that regard because you get that immediate truth. Like they can try to be like, like, and you can
Right.
tell it kind of throws them off, but you can really get immediate truth out of a generator, and it can be really fun to kind of play with.
You only need like a second of that before it's there. Now they
Yeah.
might recover, and give you their sacral response because they recognize their mind just got in the way, but mostly you only need a second to notice. Oops, missed it.
Yeah, I mean, and like even if they try to hold down the response, like you could still see it in the body. Like you can notice if the body is like, uh-huh, or like, mm-mm, like you could tell. And if they're trying to almost like holding down a beach ball, right? Like that beach ball is gonna like shoot up at you at some point. So that's what I kind of feel like with the sacral. You can have a lot of fun
No,
with it.
I agree. I agree. So I think we made some good headway today, and just like how to talk to people, I know for a fact we gave some good information.
I think there's definitely a lot of room for like experimentation, right? Like human design
And
is an
that's what I'm
experiment.
lacking. I want to sit here and experiment now because how to talk to the people is wicked important.
Yeah, and it really like this can really change your relationships in a lot of ways, and especially with like closer people, family, friends, loved ones kind of stuff. Like this can really change the dynamic of being able to honor somebody, like honor how they're living in the world, or like if it's going weird, like if your relationship is going weird and you might not know why, like this can maybe give you some clues on how to engage better with that person and, improve the relationship or, especially families and kids and different sorts of dynamics that exist. Like, I don't know, it's one of my favorite things to have learned is like, it's not super complicated. Manifestors, just tell them stuff in just straight declarative statements. This is what's going on.
Got
Generators,
pizza.
yeah, I got pizza. If you want some, it's here for you. Just help yourself. Boom. Right? With a generator, manifesting generator. I got some pizza. You want pizza? With the projector, it's like, I got some pizza. It's totally your favorite. I would love to share it with you and we can like hang out and like, have a nice conversation by the dinner table and your projector will just be like all like bubbly and happy and little butterflies flying around.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with like the reflector, it's like, man, I'd really love a good pizza place. Right? Like, have you explored any good ones? Do you know of any good spots? Maybe something like that. I don't know. Do you have
I was
anything else
thinking
with the
about this
reflector?
place. Have you ever been there? Do you see that neighborhood at all? Do you like it down there?
What's the
Uh,
vibe? What's
what's
the
the
vibe at
vibe
that
down there?
place?
Yeah, that's a good. What's the vibe? What's the vibe on this thing? That might be a good one. It's sort of like the yes, no of the generator or the invitation of the director, but it's what's the vibe for the reflector? I feel a lot better
That's
now.
so
I
good.
feel a
Yeah.
lot better now already.
Yeah, no, I felt like I was like, I feel like there's something else with a reflector, so I know what you mean. But yeah, just asking a reflector, what's the vibe
What's the vibe down there? Yeah.
on XYZ, whatever it might be, what's the vibe? What have you
Yeah.
experienced? What
Or
have you
what's the vibe in
sampled?
you when I ask you this? That too, maybe. See what they have to say. But
That's
they're the
really good.
unicorns. We all got to get to know more reflectors. There's no question.
If you would like to book a reading with either Danny or myself, check out the QR code above me or the link down in the description box below. You can also use code AWAKEN to save 10% on that reading so you can save a little bit, hang out with us, talk about your chart, help you understand some things. If you've been getting a lot out of our videos, you want to help support us and encourage us, then check out the QR code to our donation link that's also down in the description box below. And we thank you so much. And as always, thank you, Danny. Thank you to everyone who's watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, hanging out with us. It really helps us out if you like and subscribe and do all that fun things. So thank you very
Pass it
much.
around.
Yeah, share the videos if they really get to you. Share them with those you love and who might be interested in such things. And thank you very much.
Much love, everyone. Till the next time.